What up, Leedz? How we doing? 60 degrees out in Boston. Might as well be 80. Interview today with Weapon E.S.P, Massachusetts finest. Shout out everybody rolling in. One second here, typing this in. This is the fun part. Blunt Man Sam in the building, what up? Kane in the building, what up? Interview with the Weapon E.S.P. Pin that. Looks like I think our boy's in the building right now. Let me invite you. Let's see here. Let's go. Yes.
Yo,
You nailed it on the first take, man.
that's crazy. It's the first time I've ever done Instagram, so Instagram Live.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'd just like to welcome everybody to the Leedz Edutainment podcast, brought to you by the Chubby Chickpea Restaurant. We got a very special guest today, MC extraordinaire, Weapon E.S.P. How are you?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
No doubt, man. I figured it was time because you've been on a tear lately, and you got the show coming up, and you've been putting in a lot of work. So I always like working with people that put in a lot of work.
Thanks,
And you've
man.
been doing that.
Appreciate
And it's
that.
funny because I didn't really get hip to you until I came across you on a B-Leafs compilation, Leaf.
Yep.
You won a song with Acrobatic and I forget who else was on it.
Crump Snatcher.
I was like, "Who the hell is Weapon E.S.P?" And it's not that I wasn't checking for him. I mean, I just had not seen your name yet. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of people like that. And I was like, and it was like, "Yo, dude's good." And since then, you've been doing your thing, man.
Thank you. Yeah, that was an honor to do that track with those guys. Those guys are legends, obviously, in Mass. So
Yeah.
that was dope.
So, generally, I go back on the backstory and whatnot. Southbridge, Massachusetts. Is that where you're from?
Southbridge, Massachusetts. Yeah.
So that's like Central Mass, but like South Central Mass, close to Connecticut, west of Worcester. It's out there.
Yeah, about 25 from Worcester, but I'm also like 15 from Woodstock, Connecticut. You know what I mean? So it's weird. Definitely in a weird position, but still got good access to hip hop. So.
Is it a rural area? Like, what's the area like? Because I've never been. I know it's
mill
Sturbridge.
Yeah, it's a lot different than Sturbridge, though. It's a mill town. It's an old mill town. It's like a little over 50% Puerto Rican, I believe.
Oh wow.
Yeah, a lot of Latina in Southbridge, and it's awesome, man. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I love it.
And you're born and raised there?
Born and raised, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, for people that also don't know, you are a baseball player.
Yeah.
Which I had found out recently. So what came first, the baseball or the hip hop?
Definitely the focus was on baseball when I was younger. Because I had the skills, you know what I mean? And like my parents knew I did, and I just the same way I'm grinding with hip hop is how I was grinding with baseball back then, you know what I mean? Like really training all the time. I knew I had it in me to go far, so I pursued that to the fullest. But yeah, no, I mean, when that was done, I knew hip hop was what I wanted to pursue after that. So,
I mean, we're not talking regular baseball here. You made it to what, AAA majors?
I wasn't in majors. I was in the minor league organization. So like for the time that I played for the for Oakland A's, I got drafted in 2006, in the 12th round to the Oakland A's from Franklin Pierce University in New Hampshire. So it was a blessing, man. Like like that's what I worked my whole life to get to. It was an amazing experience, but no, I have no regrets about anything happening and stuff though. So.
And you were a pitcher, right?
Yeah.
So what's that like? What's that like being a pitcher trying to make the pros? For those that don't know, because you don't really see many baseball players turn rappers. I'm just saying. So
no, it's really random. I definitely felt like an outcast, to be real with you. Like when I was like, a lot of the dudes are like, how rappers can be egotistical, but it's like different in baseball. No, in baseball, it's very similar. Like a lot of dudes are just all about themselves. You know what I mean? Like you start feeling like it would be a team. Like how like we all root for the Red Sox and we root for the Celtics, but when you're actually playing there, you see a lot of egos. After the game, people just calling like their agents, talking about how they want to leave the team, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like it's real. There's a lot of meatheads that play baseball. I'll be real with you. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I mean, growing up in the '80s, baseball was like the sport for
mm.
me. You know what I mean? I played, and I didn't go that far with it, but but it was. I love baseball, man. I still love baseball. So why didn't it work out? Like, what was like? You made it to this far, you just couldn't make the next step. I mean, what happened?
Well, I don't want to make excuses, but I ended up getting Lyme disease. So
Oh, that's
you get you get bit by a tick. It really fucked me up, man. It messed me up. So
yeah,
that was for like a good. When that happened to me, like it really affected the way I was throwing the ball. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I still threw hard, but it messes with your joints. So I had no
yeah.
idea what was wrong with me when this was happening. So I wasn't throwing the ball as good. And then when I went and saw the doctor, they had no clue because out there, I was out in Arizona at the time, and they had no idea like about Lyme disease because it originates out in Connecticut. So when they sent me back to see my local doctors, they saw I had like a ring on my back from getting bit. So when they found that I had Lyme disease, they released me. So then I ended up
Really?
playing. Yeah, they're like, yeah, listen, we draft guys every single year. You know what I mean? Like even though you were a high draftee, like Lyme disease is a serious thing to come back from. You know what I mean? Like it really like they released me.
Damn.
Yeah, it sucked, man. It was really unlucky. And then I played for the Worcester Tornadoes in Worcester, which was like considered like a double A level. And I ended up getting hurt that like the most random way there too. Like I was walking down a stairwell and there was glass on the railing. I sliced up my pitching fingers so I couldn't pitch. And then like they were like, listen, it's playoffs. We're gonna have to release you. It was Rich Gedman. I don't know if you know who that is. He used to be a
Oh
catcher.
yeah, catcher for the Red
For the
Sox.
Red Sox. He was my coach, and
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
listen, like I know you're a good pitcher and stuff, but you got hurt, and we need people for the playoffs. So they released me, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back to school. I'm gonna get an education, and I'm gonna pursue this music. So that's what I ended up doing.
What was your signature pitch?
Slider.
Ah, that's impressive.
It was
That's not an easy pitch to throw.
If you're a righty, if you don't throw 90 miles an hour and like don't have a breaking pitch that's like a plus pitch, like you're not gonna make it anywhere as a righty. So luckily I had a slider.
Who was your favorite pitcher growing up?
Pedro, definitely. I love Pedro.
Nice. My generation was Clemens.
I had Clemens. Like originally my number was 21, and then when
Yeah.
the whole thing happened with the steroids, I honestly I wasn't as big of a fan of Clemens anymore.
The Rocket.
No, he was awesome. He was my favorite pitcher before Pedro, honestly. But.
Yeah, he was good. So baseball ends what? You're 21, 22, something maybe?
Yeah.
You go back to school for what? What do you go back to school for?
Well, at the time when I first went back to school, I went back to school for different things, but was psychology. And then after that, I switched it to PE, and now I'm actually a PE teacher. So
nice. So where does hip hop fall in?
During that time, do you remember A Period by any chance? My boy Mike, he goes by Low Gun now. Well, he grew up in my gun. Yeah, he grew up in my town, and he put me on to hip hop at like a very young age. So like when I was like 12 or 13, he was showing me like Mos Def and showing me like amazing hip hop at a young age. So I was very blessed to be exposed to that from a young age. Mm-hmm. So I was always into like dope stuff, from a young age and stuff. Luckily with him, teaching me everything. And his uncle was putting him onto all the new records and new MCs and stuff like that too. So I was getting information from him and his uncle. And my boy Haze of Main Name, you must know him too.
Better the faces.
He's done a bunch of stuff with like SD Knack, Grubby Pod, all these type of people. So Haze is a nasty MC too. So when I'm like 12, 13, 14 years old, these guys are going record shopping, digging up records, and I'm there with them, soaking up all this information. You know what I mean? Like they were actually doing it. Like they were like making songs, digging up records, flipping beats at like 13, 14 years old. So
nice.
It's very rare for me to see that. And I wasn't taking it seriously. Like I would freestyle with them and stuff like that. Like we'd be at parties and like I would freestyle and I'd be like, yo, you're nice. Yo, Shane, you're nice. You know what I mean? Like I was, I'm all right. But I didn't take it fully serious because I was focused on baseball. And everyone's like, no, you should do it. I remember when I played baseball, I'd be freestyling like with these guys in the car that don't even care about hip hop, but I'm just like freestyling and they're like, yo, why don't you do that? Like, they're like, if you had the same confidence you do freestyling as you do in playing baseball, if you applied it to baseball, you'd be in the majors already. And I was just like, oh, I don't know, maybe I should do this. So I started like really, really studying, like when I was done with baseball, really studying the craft and like really studying my favorite MCs, studying all the way back from like the early 80s. Like I had a lot of alone time. I was single and I was really getting deep into the fact that I wanted to be an MC, but I knew it wasn't going to happen like overnight. You know what I mean? There's a lot to go into it. So I started writing, and I also was by the time I started writing, I was also the hype man for A Period or Low Gun now. So I remember he did a show that you put on with Action Bronson, and I was actually he was an opener, and I was actually a hype man then. So
was he in a different group, or was it just him?
It was just A Period. It was A Period of main name. Or he might have gone by AP then.
I did a few Action Bronson shows, so I'm not sure exactly which one that was.
It was one where he probably does this at every show, but he had like a giant joint, like a huge joint. He passed it around to the crowd, and I came back to him and stuff like that. It was ridiculous. I don't know if you remember that.
No, but I would have. I would have got yelled at by the venue manager.
No, for real.
The crowd, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So when I was this hype man, I was getting used to being on stage, and like I knew how to like move a crowd already. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so I was studying him. I was also, every time I was going to shows, I was studying MCs and really like how they handle themselves on stage. Yeah. And really building up myself as an MC before I even started writing. You know what I mean? Like in my mind, I already had figured out how I wanted to be, you know?
Who were your influences that was like, yo, these are the guys I'm really studying?
Like,
as far as
like famous, like not local people, like famous people?
But yeah, outside of local.
Okay, so like I'm wicked into Ghostface. Like Ghostface Killer, I think his music's amazing. I think he has one of the best catalogs ever.
All right, let me stop you right there. Iron Man or Supreme Clientele?
It's a tough one. For me, it's Supreme Clientele. It's just, especially since Ghost recently came out and said he doesn't even like Iron Man. He's like, I don't even.
Yeah, which is bullshit. Because in my opinion, Iron Man's the one. But
really,
Supreme Clientele,
I don't know, man. The beats on Supreme Clientele is so crazy. And I like the randomness.
I'm gonna give you my opinion. There's some misses on Supreme Clientele. There's no misses on Iron Man.
What do you think?
The one with the some of the singing I don't like. I think it's a little too much. Forget the natural songs. The one that RZA did where it was like off.
I like that one. Like, fuck with that one heavy, man.
You know, that might work now.
That's like future. That's like nowadays beats. Like those beats, that beat would fly now.
At the time, I was like, yeah. Some of the singing, I didn't like the hooks on some of the stuff.
Word.
I mean, it's just all RZA production on Iron Man. Peak RZA, even though they say it's like throwaway RZA, but fuck it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
So that's me. Those songs.
Both classics to me. Like they're both classics. They're both. So. Yeah. Actually, I really like Pretty Tony as well. I love that album. I love Fishscale. Fishscale was a great album from Ghostface. I love that album.
There's another one I like, since we're going to talk about Ghostface, and everybody loves Ghostface, so there'll be no problems with this. What was the one I liked? The other one.
You're not thinking Bulletproof Wallace, right?
No.
Big Dope Rehab? Big Dope Rehab?
The stuff with Adrian Young I liked. And the one with Bad, Not Good, Sour Soul. Love that one.
See, I like those. I just don't like him as much of his like nostalgic stuff. Just because I don't think his pen is quite as sharp as it used to be.
No,
to be honest with you.
But the production I think on those ones is better than his newer production ones.
Definitely,
you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Because it's like, yeah, I think like he seems to have, like, let's just say, dumbed it down a little bit. It's not as abstract as it used to be with the crazy words and the wordplay. That's another thing I don't really love about the new stuff too. It's just, he's more just
straightforward,
basic.
Think about Supreme Clientele compared to now. Like, it's totally different. He was saying laying like needles in a hospital. You know what I mean? Random shit on that. You know what I mean? Like such random, like abstract.
And his verses on all the Wu-Tang shit, especially Wu-Tang Forever. Like
Projects. How about his verse on Projects?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a crazy verse. That's a crazy verse.
This is verse. It's the other one there when he talks about this boy dying. What's the name? The Impossible? Is that what it is? I think it's The Impossible.
Yeah.
He reenacts the scene of his boy dying. That's that type of songwriting. I mean, that's good stuff to inspire you. I will say that.
Yeah, he's
Who else?
Common was huge back. Yeah. Not as much nowadays. I'm not really big on Common's new stuff, but
What's your favorite album?
Resurrection. I love Resurrection. It's like to me, it was like he was freestyling, like he was literally just having fun. You know what I mean? Like he was so natural. Nothing felt forced. I just love the beats. No ID killed the beats.
And it's just like a straightforward hip hop album, whereas his other ones are kind of gets into R&B and soul a little too much, I think. And it's like, if you're a diehard hip hop fan, if you're a fan of that type of music, you're like, oh, word,
yeah.
But it's tough to top 6 Cents by DJ Premier. Is one of his best joints.
Amazing,
in my opinion.
amazing.
Who else?
Some other people. Most Def, definitely Most Def.
Quali?
Huh?
You like Quali?
Not as much.
It's because of his personality.
I don't really want to get into that, but yeah, no.
Fair enough.
But no, I appreciate Quali. I just think his music has kind of not been the same in the last. I mean, that Diamond D album was pretty good, but for the most part, I don't know. His verse it just doesn't hit as hard to me. I don't know. It's not hit me the same.
It's tough to beat that. It's tough to beat that Black Star album, that Reflection Eternal album.
Classic.
Tough to beat.
Definitely classic. He was amazing on that, and honestly, it's weird because my opinion was different back then. I like to live as a lyricist more than most. But then as I get older, I'm like, wow, I just think Mos is such a better overall artist. Yeah. You know what I mean? He can sing too. Mos has a great singing voice. Just incredible. He's an incredible artist. So, Pharoah Monch is another one. Like, these are all, like, you know what I mean, classic responses. They're all in the same vein. But these are
you
just
more
people
Pharoah Monch solo or Organized Confusion?
Solo. I like Organized Confusion too, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, Internal Affairs was just he pushes the limits with lyricism, you know what I mean? So.
Do you like the new one with the 13 project with the band?
I haven't dug fully into it. I've seen the singles and stuff. And you like it? You mess with it?
I do.
Or
I like that type of stuff. I like bigger production. You know, I like guitars and drums. And
yeah.
I like when they add that. You know, when you've been listening to hip hop for 30 years, any way to spice it up is a good thing.
I hear you. Yeah.
All right, so we got the influences down. So when did you start putting out music?
So dropped my first album in 2014. It's called Weapon of Mass Production, and it was just by
That's
E.S.P.
not on streaming. That's not on streaming.
It was on iTunes. I don't know. It's on SoundCloud, I think.
Actually, let me stop real quick. Is Weapon E.S.P the first rap name? Did you have something else?
It was just E.S.P.
And what does that stand for?
Extrasensory perception. But like nowadays, people are like, "Oh, does it stand for MC Shane Pursuti?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever. I don't care." Like, it can be made different. If they wanted to stand for that, that's fine to me too. I don't care. You know what I mean? But,
cool.
Yeah,
I just want to know.
It was ESP first. Made the first album called Weapon of Mass Production. It was like me. It was like Weapon X being turned into a weapon. That was the whole idea. So then the next album will be Weapon E.S.P. Yeah. So, and it's just like I got some songs in there. I got a video from that album, but like most of this stuff I don't really push as much, just because like I feel like I've really developed a lot more since then.
It's got like a demo style.
Yeah, I mean it's good. Like I you know what I mean. I'll like defend it. You know what I mean. I'll defend what I said and who I was, but I feel like I'm a different person, and I feel like my access to beats, my access to everything that got better, you know what I mean, as I went on, you know what I mean? So like you said, it was like my first like demo, but usually people's best record is their first record, and in my case, that wasn't the case.
Not always the case. Well, you got to remember, like sometimes when you see like major label first releases, there's probably like 10 things before
they saved before it, yeah.
So it's you don't even know what you're seeing sometimes.
That's true.
So then, like, what, 2018, you dropped Devolution? Is that what it is? This is the thing where
De-Evolution. So what happened was, there's like 4-year gap right there, you know what I mean? So during that time, I was out there performing tons. Like, I was like, just, even with that first album, and I had some other songs, and I was just performing and getting better at performing and like putting myself out there to meet producers. I took every single opportunity I could have for those 4 years. And during that time, I was also getting better beats that I wanted, making connections with different artists, finding places to record that were better. Like everything was just about making sure that my next album like really made an impact. You know what I mean? And making sure that I made the right connections where everything would be better from then on. And that's what I did. I was doing like 100 shows a year. Like there was some.
Where were you performing?
Just like all over the place. Western Mass. Venues.
I didn't see in Boston.
Northampton. There wasn't a lot of Boston. Like I was doing like a lot of Opus stuff, a lot of Rec Shop stuff. That's when I first started going to Rec Shop, and I was meeting like SD Knack and Paranorm, and these guys all became huge influences in me once I started meeting them and getting in that scene. And then it was just developing, making connections. You know what I mean? Like, proving myself. I was trying to prove myself so that then I can really, you know, do what I'm doing now. You know, so. So 4 years is a long time, and I also like nowadays we have to put out so much material, we get forgotten so quickly that I didn't know that then. I was just like, I'm gonna make the illest album I can make. It's gonna change my life type of mind state, you know what I mean? And that's just not what it is. It's just sucks that it's not what it is. But so I dropped that album, and then everything started getting better from there.
Right. Yeah. Good album will do that. So you mentioned the STNAC and what's the group's name? I'm drawing a blank.
Tragic Allies.
Tragic Allies is a big influence. Why is that?
Well, first off, they were like the illest lyricists. Is when I first like started going on that scene. I was like, these guys are like who I need to be like. These are the guys I need to be chopping up with and being around and feeding off of. STNAC would go in freestyle and he'll be talking about like different countries, and I'm like, what the? How is this guy even doing this? It's amazing.
Yeah.
But what really got me with those, like I was studying their albums, like Paranorm. I was studying all his old stuff and Code 9, like just because that's who I saw. That's the vein I saw myself in. Not so much like the content exactly, you know what I mean, but just like the style of beats, everything. I was like, these guys are nasty. And then when STNAC and like Al Divino, they dropped Triple Black Diamonds. When they dropped that, and then they started just dropping tons of material. Like if you think about how much ST's dropped since like 2017, like he's dropped like 20 albums, 30 albums or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So his hustle, and like him and like me and him would talk, and he'd be like, "Listen, man, just dump your music, don't
dump it."
He's like, "Don't think so much about it." He's like, just splash." And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna try it. I'm just gonna make music and put it out instead of sitting on it so long. I'm just gonna start. Always having something lined up for the next drop. You know what I mean? And when I did that, it's like everything got better. You know, I was getting played by, Eclipse and Primo, and my opportunities were getting better. The producers I was meeting were getting better. Everything, like he was right. That's all you have to do is he's like, you can't miss. Just do it, drop it, and get it out to the world and move on. You know what I mean? Stop thinking about it. He's like, you know how many times I can go back and redo something if I want to? Because I don't just splash it. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like, so that was huge motivation. Just a great person too. STNAC, he's a mentor. He's like the pinnacle of what mass hip hop is to me. You know what I mean? So
nice. Yeah, I mean, I've known those guys for a while. I didn't work with them as much as I probably should have, because they were always with the Rec Shop. Rec Shop was always doing their own thing. You know what I mean? And we kind of like Leedz and Rec Shop kind of same thing. Kind of came up around the same era.
Yeah.
And they were doing mad stuff on the North Shore, and then I was just doing Boston. But when I interviewed, it was crazy. When I interviewed STNAC, it was like, damn, man, we should have worked together more back then. You know what I mean? But so also, I know you're probably a big fan of the whole Griselda movement too. I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's dope.
So they call it, as STNAC says, and I've heard people say, a hip hop renaissance. Do you agree with that theory?
I do.
Name?
I do agree. Yeah. I think it's like it's
go ahead.
New style, but it's like it's old school, but you can't say it's old school because nothing really sounded like that back then. You know what I mean? So it's like it's fly. Everything's fly. You know what I mean? That's what they call it. They call it fly shit. You know what I mean? It's it's impressive what these MCs are doing. Like I like personally. I know that you said you like the big production type beats, but I really do like the stripped down minimalist style beats. Like that's just like it brings out a different side of you as an MC. Makes you write a little bit different, think a little different than having to catch the snare and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah, is that harder? Do you find it harder to rhyme over something with no drums than with drums?
I used to, you know what I mean? Until now I've been doing it a bunch, and like it's actually I prefer it, to be real with you. Like I prefer it because you can like go in different directions. You don't have to stay with a certain flow.
I do see that. I do see that you have more of a palette to work on if you're good. Because I've seen bad MCs that can't get their flow right just sound terrible on it too. Like really elementary, like ba ba da dee da da ba ba.
Yeah, it's definitely not for everyone.
Like, what is that? Right?
Definitely not for everyone. So yeah, definitely not for everyone. And it takes a real MC to be able to like do it the right way, like, and that's kind of something I was trying to prove with my last project. I was like, I got to prove. To me, I love those kind of beats, and I was like, I'm going to prove that I can make this sound dope, because I know a lot of my fans weren't used to hearing me on stuff like that, so I just, like, did it on purpose as a challenge, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's a big part of hip-hop, that particular sound. I don't think it's all of hip-hop, but it's a big section that has kind of grown, and for a lot of us that come from a boom-bap background, kind of like this type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like this type of hip hop.
Yeah. I don't personally. I don't really understand the hate for it. Like, one second, let me plug this phone. I don't really get like why people don't like it. But
I think it's the no drums. I think hip hop. The history of hip hop has been so drum heavy, and that's the reason I like a lot of hip hop. My grandfather's a drummer. He's come from a drum background.
Yeah.
You know, those hits are just, you know, it was about the drum. So when you take that out, that's a big part of the music that's missing.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a person that's all about lyrics and all about rhyming,
yeah,
then it probably doesn't bother you as much.
You know what's interesting about that is like Ghost of the Machine. I'm sure you heard of him. He told me he's my boy from my record label, Genosha. He told me when he listened to some of the new project, he was like, it sounds like your voice is serving as the percussion. He's like, the way you're hitting it is like almost like you're a drummer. You know what I mean? Like, so I thought that was a cool, you know what I mean, way to describe it.
Yeah.
So
no, it's a good way. And shout out to Ghost of the Machine, because you did that album with the Juice Heads album, right? Like that's the you and him.
Yeah,
You took it back to baseball on that one.
Yeah, that was
talk about that. Talk about making that project, because Ghost of the Machine is a very slept on MC out here in Massachusetts. Super slept on.
Definitely, he's amazing. He's to me, he's like top 5.
Nice guy too.
Definitely.
Very nice guy.
Such a good person. But that project.
The funny thing about him, first show I did with him, he's on stage counting calories.
Oh yeah.
He's like, all right.
Well, you had a Fitbit or something?
100 calories. I think he was just starting his routine. It was kind of funny.
He'll get on these kind of things, right? These like live things, and he'll be like running on a treadmill, and I'm like, "What are you doing, bro? Like, what are you doing?" So yeah, no, it's mad funny. I love it. But no, Juice Heads was my idea for the baseball, obviously to connect back to baseball, and I thought, like, you know, at the time after we did Savage Land, me and Ghost and Recognized Real did Savage Land. And we felt like we were getting some juice. So we're like, I don't know, it just came to my mind. I was like, we got the juice. I was like connected to baseball with the steroid era, and like just go with that. And then the idea of like having, you know what I mean, like Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire knocking some like neo-Nazis heads off on the cover. You know what I mean? Everything just connected perfect on that. And all the production we had on it was great. That's like that's a really slept on album, to be real with you, man. Like really slept on. That needs some more shine.
So, are you very anti-steroid? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. I mean,
or did you do steroids and now you don't want to anymore?
No. Like it's like I wished I did them. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I figured that. I thought maybe that's what it was.
No, it's weird. It's like because I played with so many people that did it, and it was just like, to me, it was just so whack. When I was around them, I was like, this. It just felt fake to me. I don't know. And I respect other people's opinions on it, like as fans, that it changed baseball, made it more entertaining, because it did. It definitely did. But like, if you were the guy that was not doing it, you know, if you didn't want to like sacrifice your body to possibly die when you're like 52, you know what I mean? Like, you fall behind. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a pitcher I played with that was like 100. He was probably 150 pounds, a lefty, throwing 96 miles an hour. And we were in the bullpen, and we're like, "Yo, how are you throwing 96 miles an hour?" And he was like, "What do you think? Steroids." We're like, "You weigh 156 pounds." He's like, "I used to weigh 120." He's like, I started throwing like 10, 15 miles an hour faster when I did steroids. So like, I'm like, yo, if I did steroids, I'd probably throw 100 miles an hour. I'm not like regretting not doing it, obviously, but like, it's just like, to me, it was just like it was cheating to me, you know?
Yeah. And then, so what do you think of McGwire? Is he legit or is he not legit? Stuff he was taking.
He's not legit. I mean, he definitely did steroids.
He was saying that the stuff he was taking, right, was legal at the time, or it wasn't illegal?
Look at McGwire. First off, look at like Barry Bonds, right? Yeah. They say he did like something else. It was like HGH or something like that, right? Yeah. So HGH, if you look at how many home runs he hit, he used to be a 30-30 guy, which means he would steal 30 bases, hit 30 home runs. Yeah. And he like started to end his career as a 70 home run guy and like 0 stolen bases. You know what I mean? Like, so he went from 30-30 to 70 and 0. So it's ridiculous. He definitely wouldn't have broke the record. It's 100% would never have broke the record if he didn't do steroids. If he hit on a 30 home run rate, like he would never broke the record. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, McGwire was always a slugger, but I remember the difference between, you know, when he really started hitting a lot of them, when he's doing like 50 to 60, I was like, holy crap. What did he finish off with? Did he hit 70?
He's 60 something, 71. I think he might hit 70. I think Barry Bonds hit like 71 or 72 one year. But like, so some guys that I used to play with, I played with a catcher, right, when I was in Vancouver, and he told me he was taking HGH, and when he would take HGH, it would actually make the ball bigger. So he was seeing a ball come at him, and it would look like a beach ball. He's like, your hand-eye coordination actually improves. because it's like for making people younger. It's like they call it the fountain of youth, HGH. They give it to like older people so they feel like they're
Yeah,
young.
it's growth hormone.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but it also like can affect your eyes. It can make you like see things better. You know what I mean? Like it's wild. So and he was
your
using,
head
like,
will get your bones will get bigger.
yeah. If you look at
Like if you look at Stallone,
yeah.
if you look at Stallone and how big his head is and he is now versus what he used to be.
yeah, he doesn't have a neck now. He used to be like tone and you know what I mean? Like old Rambo movies, he was tone and stuff. You know?
Yeah, now he's just like, and yeah. Well, anyways, yeah. So the album Juice Heads, I saw the scene where you were screaming at the umpire.
Yeah.
Is that a real life scenario reenacted?
I mean, yeah, we were just having fun, man. That was a freestyle. That whole situation, we just like it. Literally, that's why it was awesome to us because like we weren't planning what we were gonna say. You know what I mean? It just happened, and I was like talking about like the pitcher using doing spitballs and stuff and yelling at the umpire.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was just goofing around, having fun. You know.
Did you know all the tricks on what to put on the baseball to make it a Vaseline and all that other stuff? Did you know all that?
I never did that. Like I never had like Vaseline under my hat or anything like that. But
Spit,
I used to
snot.
What I would do is I would push the seams. I'd push under the seams so the seams would rise up, and it would make it easier to throw breaking pitches and get your fingers on the ball to throw breaking pitches and stuff. So I would do that, and I wouldn't tell anyone, but I would definitely raise the seams up a little.
Last question about baseball is Jose Canseco a snitch or did he do the right thing?
I think I'm glad he exposed people, but honestly, like, yeah, he's a snitch. He's definitely a snitch. I mean,
yeah.
I think it was gonna come out anyways, but I think he was definitely. I mean, he was one of the worst ones doing it. He shouldn't have been talking. You know what I mean? Like, he was in the bathroom, like shooting it into like Mark McGuire's ass. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so.
Now that's the album cover. We're gonna pick of that.
The next one. He says too. He's definitely gonna be.
That would so work in 2022. so if I hope I'm pronouncing this, it's Genosha Records. Is that how
Genosha?
Genosha. I'm sorry. What does that mean?
So Genosha is like in like the X-Men comics and stuff like that in Marvel. It's an island that like mutants. If you ever watched the X-Men cartoons back in the day, there was an island called Genosha Island, and mutants would go there because they thought it was like a place they could get away and all mutants could go to. But they actually used it as a way to like steal people's powers. Like the government was like stealing mutants' powers while they were there and everything like that. So we connected that to hip hop, and what we were like, you know what I mean? We just made our own connection to it and thought it was a good name for us. Plus, we're all into like superheroes and stuff like that too. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So you're big into Marvel and DC and all that comics.
Yeah, definitely. So is Logan and so is Ghost. So.
Yeah. I'm not as well informed in that. I watched a couple of them, but there's so many now I can't even keep up with all the series. What's your favorite one?
My favorite what? Movie?
Your favorite, well, Marvel movie or series or whatever you want to call it.
I like the Logan movie. I thought that was pretty badass. Did you have
Wolverine?
Yeah, the Wolverine one, the Logan.
That was great.
Yeah, I messed with that one heavy.
To me, it's the Christopher Nolan Batmans.
The first one,
Dark Knight. First one, Dark Knight, and then what's the third one? The Bane. What's that one called? Dark Knight Rises.
I didn't like that one as much, the Bane one. But
why don't you like Bane? You named a couple songs.
I just didn't like the particular Bane. I know. I just didn't like the how they kept.
You like Tom Hardy as Bane?
Tom Hardy's a badass actor, but no, I don't know. It wasn't my favorite. You know what my favorite superhero movie is, and it's not even like it's from a graphic novel. Sin City.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love Sin City, man. I love Frank Miller, and like that whole story's dope to me.
I love that first Sin City, the movie. That was like, I'm a big Mickey Rourke fan.
Yeah.
That was like a big Mickey Rourke comeback.
So bad.
You know, some people say The Wrestler, and The Wrestler is a great one.
Yeah.
Before Wrestler, his comeback in Sin City was really, in my opinion,
he killed that part. He killed it.
Marv.
Yeah, definitely badass.
Yeah, I love that. So you also, Sin City, that's Frank Miller, but the new one, well, we'll get to the new one in a second, but Mr. Automatic. So again, you're on a tear. Since 2018, you've released 5 albums. 4 of them are within 2020 to 2021, and now 2022. So I'm gonna say 4 in 2 years.
Yep.
I'm guessing. And Mr. Automatic, what What was different about this one? This was back to being solo after doing 2 group projects, right?
Yeah, Ghost, like, put the battery in my back. He's like, man, you need to do a solo, because like he has like a lot of solos, and he's like, it's your turn to like do another solo. Right. And I knew I wanted to feature Genosha on that album. It was gonna be the first actual like release under Genosha. It was dope because we recorded at Logan's house. Like, it was an in-house recording. All my beats, like I really like chose them perfectly, like how I wanted them to be, which producers I wanted. I was just, everything came together really good on that one. And it was just me talking shit the whole time, just talking shit. Every song was just talking shit.
What are you talking shit about?
I'm just talking shit, just not brag. It's like braggadocio, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like, this is me. Like, I don't miss, like, every song's going to be a banger type thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I was going for with that.
Who was doing your production?
On that joint, I had Reese Tanaka did a bunch. I had William Wallace on that.
Yep.
DJ Proof. I had Hobgoblin. I had Rec Real. I don't want to forget anybody. Damn. CG. This dude CG was nasty. He produced for like West Side Gun and stuff. Yeah, I think that was everyone.
So William Wallace, that's one half of the Hashassians. The other half is Mr. Tim Barry. And Tim Barry produced this, right? Produced the whole Tarantino Rodriguez album, is that right? Oh, we lost Mr. E.S.P.
I'm right here.
He's got it.
You got me?
I think you're coming back. Are you there?
I'm here.
Word. So what I was saying is, Tim Barry produced half of all of Tarantino Rodriguez. The new one?
all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's that relationship like?
Well, he's my boy. You know what I mean? Like, I met Timmy, I think when he was 19. Him and Will. I saw like their first performance they ever did. We actually met through a barber who like told us we should talk to each other and, you know what I mean, make songs together. So we connected, and this is when I just dropped my first album, was when I met them. And ever since then, just, I did a song with them, done a couple songs with them, but we've also done like so many shows, and I was living out in Western Mass, so we had a huge connections. We were friends before we even did the music, you know what I mean? And
is Tim from out there?
Tim's from Westfield, yeah, and so is Will.
Okay.
So
they're both from, okay. I didn't know they were from Western. I thought maybe Will was from out here, but I guess not.
No, he moved out to like the Boston area. He moved to Boston.
Yeah,
he got involved with Rec Shop heavy. So
yeah, he was like the main guy over there. Yeah. So Tarantino Rodriguez, I'm a movie fan. I'm guessing you're a fan of both directors. I'm guessing that was the whole thing with this album, concept-wise. Right?
Yeah. It took a while for me and Timmy to figure that that's what we wanted to do, but we did. It was a long conversation of many different ideas, but that's what we came up with, and it was dope.
Sampling movies is the best. I used to do that all the time on my mixtapes.
Yeah.
But now I don't do it because, I won't go into the details, but, I would still be doing it to this day if I could.
Yeah.
And I think it's really dope that you did it. So are you favorite Tarantino movie, I guess?
My favorite Tarantino movie? Pulp Fiction. I'll say Pulp Fiction.
All right, I'm going to say second because everyone says Pulp Fiction.
I really love Inglourious Bastards. I love that movie. And that's a great one. Django. There's like so many good ones. Is
there a bad one?
I don't think there's a bad one. I think The Hateful Eight is my least favorite one, but I still like it a lot. You know what I mean? Like
Hateful Eight or Death Proof?
I like Death Proof more than The Hateful Eight, personally.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I remember a lot of people when Death Proof came out with Planet Terror, people would tell me they were walked out during Death Proof. What are you doing?
Really?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
They show them at the same time, so it's long.
Yeah.
People's attention spans are, man. It's just gone.
I feel you.
What about is Rodriguez on the same level? Is you a fan like that too, or?
He did Sin City, and I love Sin City. From Dusk Till Dawn, Desperado. These are all like, I love these movies as a kid too. You know what I mean? But not as good as Tarantino, because Tarantino literally does not miss. But Rodriguez, I think the whole point of this project is we want to do only movies. We only sample movies that they did together. Whether Tarantino was in the movie or it was something they collaborated on somehow. We made sure we didn't include anything from Pulp Fiction. We didn't include like a bunch of different movies because we always focused on the ones they did together.
The ones they did together is Planet Terror, Dusk Till Dawn. What else?
Desperado, because Tarantino was in Desperado.
Was he? I didn't
Yeah,
know.
he had a really funny scene too. The movie Four Rooms they did together. I don't know if you know that movie.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But
That
we
was-
didn't. I don't think we sampled anything from that. Kill Bill 2. Rodriguez, I believe, did the soundtrack for that.
Interesting.
So we looked it up and we found all the movies that connected. You know what I mean? Sin City, there was a scene that the song Jackie Boy, that interlude we have Jackie Boy, that was a scene from Sin City that Tarantino directed when it was in the car, and like Jackie Boy's neck was slit, and he was talking about like not smoking, like you shouldn't be smoking, and we used the sample, and it's really dope on the album for the interlude. So there's a bunch of little things like we sampled Salma Hayek singing for the Tarantino Rodriguez song, the song with me and Tim. So in the chorus, in the beginning of the song, and in the chorus, Tim sampled Salma Hayek singing. So if you hear the singing, that's actually Salma Hayek doing a hook. So she doesn't even know she's like singing the chorus on the song right now.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. So what's next then, man? What's the next move?
I got a lot of things, man. Looking to release like at least 3 to 4 more albums this year.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Whether or not they're like a group projects that I'm a part of, or I can give you some stuff. So like are you familiar with Grime Wave by any chance?
Yep, I do. And I know them. I just recently became hip to them.
Yeah, Grime Wave, ridiculously dope group. E.N.E.L.S, Hanzo Blades, Mo Ruckus, Lace Fueg, Frank White, all dope MCs. Genosha, we connected with them just on, mutual respect. And, E.N.E.L.S is from Mass and everything like that. So we knew each other and stuff like that. But we're definitely going to be dropping something together between Genosha and Grime Wave. That's like going to have some really dope production. And I'm excited for that. And then Savage Land 2. So Savage Land 2's, in the works right now too.
And Savage Land is Ghost of the Machine and Recognize Real, correct?
Yep.
Recognize Real is the producer, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So
he's done a bunch.
He's incredible.
If it's the same Recognize Real, I think it is. He's done other stuff too, right?
Yeah, he's done a bunch of stuff. So yeah, we already have all those beats and everything like that. We got a lot of it already done. So excited for Savage Land 2, Grime Wave, Genosha, and then I got a solo that I'm really excited about, produced by somebody that we mentioned today, but I'm not going to mention it anymore.
Well, we already mentioned it. Why can't we mention it now?
Well, I mentioned he goes by a different. Let's just say he goes by a different name when he produces.
You got the show coming up too, right?
Oh yeah, so I definitely want to plug that. March 13th at Electric Haze, thrown by the Hip Hop Lifers. They're throwing the show. I'm headlining. We got Ghost of the Machine, Speak the Rebel with Ferris, so they're going to be Animal Embassy. Jay Fliz, see, I got it written down here. A God, Old Soul, Rove the Rebel, Purge, and Paranoia. Make sure I don't forget anybody.
Hip Hop Lifers. That's I'm on there. I see them post a bunch of stuff. Who started that? It was
Anthony. This guy Anthony. I can't pronounce his last name. It's like I'm
sorry,
sorry,
Anthony.
Show. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name.
Sorry, Anthony. I met you at a show too, Anthony, and I like what you're doing. I'm keeping it together.
Yeah, and Brad Bailey too, and they definitely. I appreciate the support and what they do for local artists, what they do for anybody that's in the underground right now, and they're like, really, putting in work for the culture, just like you do. You know what I mean? And I respect that for real.
Yeah, thank you. Well, let's talk about being in the underground, because that's what we both are. Let's talk about the struggle of that. Because I know, it's tough. You know, and I see you getting upset sometimes, venting.
Yeah.
Online.
Sometimes,
You get fed up. Talk about some of the struggles you deal with. What's some of the difficult things you deal with?
I think that like promoting definitely is a difficult thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Especially yourself.
Yeah, promoting yourself, and not having we have a team, and Genosha has a team and everything like that. And things are getting better that we combine forces. Before that, it was very difficult. Finding people you can trust to work with, just finding things that we know are going to work. Just keep on trial and error is a huge thing. We're going through here. You know what I mean? Collaborating with other artists to find out the best angle of doing things. There's a lot of struggles, man. But if you got the talent and the drive, you'll figure it out. You know what I mean? You always find a way. So yeah. And for me,
you ever be like you ever like, fuck it, I'm not doing this shit. I'm sick of dealing with this shit.
Nah, because to me, it's never been about being rich or anything like that. For me, right now, especially right now, it's about building a catalog that So, like, for instance, when you check SD Knack, you know what I mean? In 2014, maybe he dropped like 1 or 2, 3 albums. He was a part of Tragic Allies. But now, if you go back, like, people will go back and check all those 20 albums if they're a fan of him. You know what I mean? Like, if you keep on dropping music, eventually it catches on, and everyone wants to check out what you did before that. So if you don't have a catalog that you're putting out of work, they're gonna be like, this guy didn't really do anything. You know what I mean? But like, if I got like, I'm thinking every year is like 3 or 4 more albums. You know what I mean? So, and quality. I'm not gonna release it if it's not quality. You know what I'm saying? But if I have like 15 albums 2 years from now, if I have 15 albums to my name that I can stand behind, that's gonna be pretty hard to like doubt or like be like, nah, this guy's he's not just a local rapper. You know what I mean? It's like I'm actually doing it seriously in every, you know, way I can. So
how's the balance with the family and the job and all that?
I'm very fortunate that, you know, my girl, you know, wifey, she's like very, like, she lets me do whatever I want as far as music goes. You know what I mean? So, and we met on those terms where she had seen my music.
That was in the wedding agreement.
Yeah. No, it was like
my music, my way.
Yo, I had a girl before, you know, that I dated, and that she was like, listen, like, if you don't quit, like, we're not going to be together. And this is like a serious thing. Like, a lot of my time is taken up doing this. You know what I'm saying? So, I made sure that the person I was with knew what they were getting into ahead of time. And I know I'm obsessive and annoying, and probably hear the same fucking beat over and over again. They're like, damn, this song sucks. But like, you know what I mean? You can get sick of it. I'm sure I piss my family off sometimes doing this so much, but you know, it's the price they're gonna have to pay. You know.
At least they knew before they signed up. You know
Yeah, exactly.
Well, word, man. Well, this has been great talking with you, man. And, you know, good luck with the show and everything else you're doing, man. Like I said, Tarantino, Riyadh Rodriguez out now. Shout out to Barry. But yeah, man, keep me posted, man. I'm always checking for your stuff, man. And, you know, keeping that real hip hop alive, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on here, for real. Thank you.
No doubt, man. Keep doing your thing. I just want to thank everybody for tuning into the Leedz Entertainment Podcast, brought to you by the Chubby Chickpea Restaurant with Weapon E.S.P.
Peace.